In this video, I'm going to give you the solution to capital efficient and explosive growth using paid ads and funnels. We regularly use this system with our clients to generate a 2.5 to 4x ROAS in any market. So in the next 60 minutes, I'm going to be breaking down this exact system. I'm going to show you a lot of case studies that we've recently had in the past 6 months where we've helped our clients double their revenue in 90 days or less, right? We are going to break down the current market situation and how brands are really scaling to $1 million per month and more, right? I'm going to show you how we're going to help you build a code-friendly offer, how we're going to get you a better creative engine and build a direct response funnel, and how to execute all of this with AI, right? It's a 60-minute video. I have a step-by-step breakdown and guidelines for all of these steps, right? Offer, ad creatives, media buying, how to build the funnel, how to build the preset page, how to build the sales page. And at the end of the video, I'm also going to exactly explain how to leverage AI systems and prompting SOPs to really get the best results with AI and to get all of this done with 1 to 2 hours a day, right? So super excited for this. I would say let's get straight into the video. Now, the main reason why you're currently stuck between 50 to 500,000 per month is this, right? And I really want to talk about this before we dive into the system because you need to understand your current situation before you can then apply the system, right? Because once you understand your current situation, all of the pain points you have and why you have these problems, everything after is so much easier to apply. Now, typically we see 4 pain points with every brand owner at that stage that you're at with 50 to 500,000 per month in revenue. Now, the first one and the biggest one is scaling inconsistency. That means that you find good creatives, winner creatives from here and there, but every time you try to scale, you push more ad spend, your return on ad spend drops and you have to pull back ad spend, right? So it's like a scaling roller coaster. The next one is even when you start to scale and invest more into ads and you make more revenue, then all of that disappears, right? So meaning that your bottom line, your profits and free cash flow are going away, right? And then you again have to scale down to keep making money. The other one is knowledge gap, right? So there's so many gurus online that don't know what they're talking about. So you're really missing the cutting edge strategies to take you to the next level. And then also the execution dilemma, right? You as the founder, you only have so much time. You're super limited. Everybody wants to take your time away. And yeah, these are basically the 4 biggest pain points. And in this document, in this video, I'm going to show you how we can help you solve all of these, right? And also, all of these are super normal, right? It's not a sign that you're a bad founder. It's just a predictable result of trying to run a 7-figure brand on tactics instead of having a real system, right? Which is what almost everybody at your stage is doing. And you also feel these pain points because the market has changed, right? Big tech has laying off people. The consumer sentiment index has been falling, meaning people have less trust, they have less disposable income and more doubt about whether your product will even ship, right? So scaling profitably has never been harder. You pay more for ads, you have more competition and your margins are getting squeezed. But on the other hand side, this is also the best time in history to make serious money in e-commerce because if we look at the market, it's growing 14% year on year and it's projected to pass $10 trillion in 2027. So that's literally $10 million of revenue that you can participate in. And what's also interesting is that the biggest consultant worldwide, McKinsey, studied this and found something important, right? So they found that companies that stay aggressive during difficult times, they see up to 3 times the growth and up to 9 times the profitability compared to the brands that pull back in these difficult times. So if you're already doing 50 to 500,000 per month and you have product market fit, you're in the perfect position because the weak players are getting wiped out while you just need to pour more oil into the fire with the right blueprint. So super quickly, just to talk about some myths that keep brands stuck, right? So these are wrong beliefs that people buy into, right? So typically people think you need more winning creatives, you need a bigger team and scaling means spending more, right? So just to kind of clear this out really quickly, typically we see that the scaling doesn't break with more ads, more hooks, more angles, right? Ads are rarely the real bottleneck because typically the problem is not the ad itself, but what happens after the click, right? What is the specific funnel page you send it into? What is the specific offer? What is the upsell process? Like how do you maximize every single person that you send to the website? Secondly, people think they need a way bigger team, right? I need 10, 20, 30 people in my team to do $1 million a month, which is completely wrong. And I'm going to share some case studies later. But all of these people here that you've seen earlier that are doing 500, $1 million a month, they have a team of like 5, 6, 7 people maximum. And then they use our AI systems, right? And then the last one is that people think, okay, well, if I scale more and the ROAS keeps the same, then I'm not going to make more money, right? Which is also not true, right? Because we are going to give you the system with the most capital efficient way of scaling, meaning you make more revenue and you make more profit that you can take home, right? So the main reason really what differentiates $1 million per month brand to brands that are stuck between 50 to 500K is that these $1 million per month brands, they understand how to sell profitably to cold traffic, meaning they understand how to not only sell to people who are ready to buy, but also sell to people who don't even know that they exist, right? And that is where the real scale actually lives. And it's also one of the main reasons you're currently stuck at 50 to 500K per month, because you probably mostly focus on the bottom of funnel segment, meaning people that are in the market ready to buy, and you push it to a product page, right? And that's what most of the brands are doing at 7 figures, and that's why most of these are stuck. So the 8 and 9 figure brands, they focus on the way bigger market segment, which is the people who are less aware, right? So that colder traffic. And obviously it's way harder to sell to them because they are not ready to buy, right? And I'm going to teach you how to solve all of this in this video, right? So we are going to give you a strict sequence to attract, educate, and convert these unaware prospects in this huge market segment through a specific control journey, right? A specific ad style, a specific preset page, a specific sales page, and a specific checkout. And over the past 6 years, with over 254 brands, we validated the system with over $100 million in ad spend, right? So we call it the AI growth system, and that is what this document is about, right? So this AI growth system is a 3-step system powered by an AI execution layer, right? So number 1 is we build a cold-friendly offer and messaging. Number 2 is we then translate that offer into attention-grabbing ads. And then number 3 is we drive the traffic into a structured direct response funnel. And for all of this, we then give you the AI execution layer so that you can execute all of this and scale to $1 million per month with less than 5 people to produce all of this at scale, because we have all of the AI systems and all of the prompting sequences to give to you, so you can execute all of this with a small team. Now, let's break this stuff down together. Number 1 is the code-friendly offer, right? You probably already know that the key to any business growth is the offer. If the offer is wrong, nothing else is going to work. And once you crack the offer, everything else becomes 100 times easier, which is why this is step 1, right? A code-friendly offer is one that is scalable with a cold audience. And the goal is to be perceived as the all-in-one solution to a huge problem your audience faces, and then say that high-perceived value for a fraction of the price. So here's how we build a cold-friendly offer step by step. Step number 1 is you want to understand your target audience, right? So you have to deeply understand the pain points and the desires that your audience faces. So first you want to find where they spend time online, right? Whether that is Reddit, Quora, online forums, whatever. So just to make an example case study here, let's just say you have a brand that's selling a beauty product to women with curly hair. Then the first thing that I would do is go to Reddit and then search curly hair, right? So you would immediately find a forum full of women of your perfect audience that describe exactly that and talk about their curly hair problems. And then what I like to do is I just like to open these posts and then go through that and then just highlight all of their pain points in red, right? And then all of their desires in green. So you're going to read real posts from your target audience, and then you find language, right? Like they are sick of struggling. They have the frizzies. It's white forest brambles. It's a lot of effort, right? And then you also find desire language, like they want natural curls. They want them to be shiny and healthy, or they want to feel confident. And then basically what you want to do is you want to go through this process over and over again and to come up with a list of pain points and with a list of desires, right? So this is where you should spend the most time, because research is the foundation for everything downstream. This research we translate into the offer in the next step, into the ads, into the funnel. Now in step number 2, based on the research, you then want to write copy that resonates, right? So everything that we found in the research, we then use for the ad creators, for the offer, for the advertorial, sales page, email, for everything. So from the research, the copy almost writes itself, right? So you can see here that we basically take all of their pain points and their desires and put it into the copy. So they don't like frizz, right? So we say, hey, no more frizz. Or they want George's curls, then we write George's curls. Or they don't want to put a lot of effort in, and then we say, hey, it's super easy to execute, right? So in the next step, you then basically take all of the copy that your target audience gave you and translate that into then copy you can use for ads and everything else. Here is another example, right? Sick of struggling, frizzy is presentable as possible, and then we again translate that into sections on the landing page. And then step number 3 is also super important, right? So for a good code-friendly offer, you want to have strong unit economics. And this is what most founders get wrong. They want to give a better offer, so they slap a 30% discount on the product and they call it a day, right? So here example, you have a product that's $51 and then you just say, okay, it's 30% off now it's like 36. But the problem with that is, let's just say the product, you sold it before for $51 and then your cost of goods sold to get it to the customer is $20, right? So that would discount it to $36 and you're left with, right, $36 selling price minus the $20 cost of goods sold, $16 break-even CPA, which means that you need to have a 3.25x ROAS or higher to scale on Facebook profitably. And anybody who has spent money before on Facebook knows how difficult that is, right? So you just destroy your margin doing like this. Now, the better move is, instead of just giving a discount, increase the value. So we have 2 different paths of doing that. Number 1 is we want to stack it into a bundle with different products. And number 2 is we want to give different quantity discounts. So for number 1, right, this is great if you have a routine or a system or like a beauty routine or something like that, right? Because then you can add complementary products and you want to anchor the bundle against the full retail price, right? So let's just say this is the basic offer of $51 for these 2 products. Then what we would do is we would build 2 different routines. So here you can see 3-step pack and then 4-step. So here we added a $26 serum, right? The serum argan that you can see, and we still offer the same 30% off, which means that now you save $78 of value for $55, as you can see here. And your cost of goods rises to about $25, right? Before it was $20, but now you give them also the serum. So let's just say it's $25. That means your required break-even ROAS drops to 1.86. Now, we then build a second bundle, which is the best offer. We here, for example, add the $26 serum, and then we add another $45 mask. Here we go even higher with the discount, so we give 40% off, and now we sell $123 of value for $74. Now, the break-even CPA then is way better, and the required ROAS is 1.68. And what this does, it basically even makes the value proposition better because you can now sell it as a routine, right? So the serum and the mask, they map directly to the desires from the research that we found earlier, right? So they just want to have a perfect, easy to use routine. So the bigger bundle then basically is, okay, this is the perfect routine that I can take to get to my desired situation. And even if people go for this bundle instead of this bundle, they still have this in mind, right? And this $54 doesn't even seem much in comparison to $74, right? But the unit economics are way better. Number 2 is you want to give different tiers, right? So basically bundled discounts. So this typically works really well where people buy more than one product, like gadgets, fashion, supplements, or anything they restock. So instead of combining different products, here we want to reward buying multiple units of the same product. So here's the example from Ari, right? So from this case study where we basically tripled his revenue in 90 days from this guy. So here's basically what we did with the offer. Let me just show that to you. Now, his offer became 3 tiers. We have the basic offer, so you get 1 product for $44. You can get 2 products and then you get 15% off and you get a free gift. Or you can buy 3 products, you get 20% off and you get 2 gifts. Now, the discount and the gift quantity grows with the quantity they buy of the product. So the middle tier here acts as the decoy. So this is the option we want to push most of the customers into, right? And this change of basically only giving them 1 option to now giving them 3 options, and the one in the middle is the best one, changed this average order value from $57 to $65, right? So an $8 increase in average order value. And you can just imagine the impact that has on the margins and profits. Now, the next thing that we do is we want to reinforce that in the cart. So this is what his cart looked like. Even if they went for like this offer or this offer, we still wanted to upsell them into the higher option, right? So we basically implemented this progress bar at the top and say, hey, you're just a couple of dollars away from another gift and another discount. And then here at the bottom, we basically gave them the easy option to just increase the average order value and hit that, right? So we do have the offer on the product page and then we reinforce it in the cart to then again upsell them into a higher quantity option. Now, in terms of putting the offer together, you can just decide based on your niche that you're in. You can either go for this one or you can go for this one and then basically put it together, right? Either way, the product needs to solve a painful problem and the bundle wants to make it into an all-in-one solution, right? And the price is then anchored. So the real offer, the one that we want them to go for, like the one in the middle, or this one feels like a crazy offer in comparison to the highest AOV one. So once you have the offer, you need to get it in front of a lot of people. So most brands just thinking they need to make more ads, but here it's the same 3-part process. So the main thing to understand is that ads are not there to sell the whole product. The ads are there to grab the attention and sell the click into the funnel. And then afterwards, the funnel then sells the product. So here's how to build it in 3 steps. So step number 1 is you want to pick the angle and the audience. So every ad starts with one question. How do I sell my offer to whom? Right? So what is the specific angle and what is the specific target audience? You already have that answer from the research in step number 1, right? All of this stuff. And that's why this is so important. Now, the next thing is then we want to take the main desire of the customer, tie it to the unique mechanism of the product, and then turn that into a handful of angles, right? Also, what we want to do here is that we want to match each angle to an awareness level. So, for example, we have natural ingredients, which we tie to an unaware awareness level, and then we start with an educational hook. Or we have a specific pain point angle, which is the first with before and after. We tie that to the problem awareness level. And then for the creative, we start with the pain and then agitate the pain points, right? So basically, an unaware audience needs a completely different entry point than someone who's already comparing product. And that decision and that combination, right, of the customer research with the unique mechanism and the angles then shapes the creative. Now, step number 2 is we would then want to build the creatives in batches. So here are 4 different creative styles that have been working the best for us. Now, number 1 are cartoon style ads, right? So this is typically a strong pattern ad interrupt that feels educational and people want to click on this to get the solution, what you can see here. Number 2 are spark ads, meaning 30 to 60 second UGC ads from influencers ad accounts, as you can see here. That we run through the influencer. The next one is 2-minute VSLs, right? So this is a short video that tells a story, names a specific problem, and then slowly presents the solution, what you can see here. And then the last one are clickbait style ads. So this looks something like a magazine article, which is working a bit in a similar style to these cartoon style ads, where people are also clicking on to see the solution. So for these, we don't want to make them one by one. We want to make them batches. So the first clean batch is 4 angles with 5 statics and then 5 videos, which typically gives you 40 creatives to start. Now, this is what it looks like, right? So this would be one creative batch. We have the different angles, right, that we've created here in the beginning, 4 different angles with different awareness stages. And then basically, as you can see here, 4 different angles. And then we have 5 different static ads per angle and then 5 different videos, which would leave you with 40 creatives to test in this search best. In terms of sourcing, at least 50% of the concepts should come from your own customer research, and then 50% or the other half can come from looking at competitor ad accounts. And what you want to do is you want to look outside of your direct niche. So if you're in health and wellness, you don't want to look at health and wellness. You also want to look at beauty or other niches to spot winning patterns, right? So the most important thing here really is the creative output. And then step number 3 is basically the whole media buying and testing and validation process. So basically what we like to do is, number 1, we want to have an ABO, like a testing campaign, where you get 1 ad set per creative, and then they get typically $50 ad spend per day per creative, and then in combination, they get 3 times the AOV as budget. So let's just say the average order value is $80, then you should spend $240 per ad before judging it, right? So that's step number 1. Step number 2, you then have certain winners, right? So based on your target CPA, you then decide which ones to keep, which ones to kill. You then take the winners into a CBO that is at $500 per day, right? So then basically Meta decides where to spend, and then after then another couple of days, you then can push the best ones into a bid cap campaign, right? Which is then capped at the target CPA. So let's just say you have a target CPA of $50, then you can put like a super high budget and just cap it at $50 CPA. Now, Afterwards, right, you're then going to have a list of which are the specific ads that worked and which are the specific ads that hit the target CPA. So then what you want to do is you want to write down the desire and awareness level and the angle that worked, right? So that basically the next batch, right, of the next 40 creatives then become even better and you get more winners. And that's basically the whole process. Now, the next important thing after setting up the creatives and testing the creatives is obviously the funnel, right? So the funnel logic sits on top of all of this. We take the cold unaware traffic, they go to the preset pages, and then the more middle and bottom of funnel traffic we then push to the product page, meaning we show them the offer directly. Now, high level the funnel, if you do have a great offer from step 1, you have great ads from step 2, now the final step is the funnel, right? So for us, it's that we always want to run an ad to a preset page, from the preset page to the sales page, and from the sales page into the checkout with post-purchase after sequence. And what you can see here is that this is basically a really clearly defined customer journey. And then over time, the level of desire and trust increases until they finally make the purchase. Now, the whole funnel is a chain of pain points and beliefs with a single goal, right? And that goal is to take somebody from their current mindset to the I want to buy this. And the thing that makes this work is congruency. So the ad runs one specific angle, the preset page continues the exact angle, and the sales page closes on the offer that we built for that angle for that customer avatar. And that's why also this whole document is basically a step-by-step sequence, because you have to follow this exact order so everything works well together. As a rule of thumb for traffic, right, because we talked a lot about the media buying, the different creatives and everything, we typically like to send 50% of the traffic to the preset page, and then the remaining half, which is people that have been on the preset page before, retargeting or really product and buying aware people, we directly like to send them to the sales page. In terms of what to do next, right? Before you jump into now building the pages, and obviously I'm going to explain how to do that in a second, you want to decide who you're building for, right? So what most brands get wrong is that they just send everybody to the same page. And that's really not how it works. Because the rule behind this is simple, right? If we look at the different awareness stages that we also talked about earlier, most people are competing for the most aware segment, right? So that's what everybody's focused on because they're ready to buy. And then everything down below, people just neglect this, right? So the rule behind it is pretty simple. You do not drag a person toward your product, right? You want to enter the conversation that's already happening in their head, and then the product becomes the only logical exit. Now, to give you some different examples of how this works is, let's say we have a problem-aware prospect, right? They know that they have a problem, but they don't know about your solution or your product that you're selling, right? So you want to meet them where they are. So in this case, for example, we could set up a listicle with an authority angle and then say, hey, they are at the problem-aware stage where they tried a lot of stuff, but nothing works. And then we can basically tell them, hey, listen, you have this problem. It's not your fault. Here's the real cause why you're experiencing this problem. Here's why nothing else works. And here's the fix. And now go buy it, right? So we meet them exactly where they are. Now, to give you another example to really drive the point home, let's say we have somebody that's already product aware, so they know about different products on the market, and they are currently comparing products and are cross-shopping. You then again want to meet them where they are. So here, for example, they have let's say 3 different brands, 3 different products in their mind, and then we want to give them, for example, a buyer's guide, right? So they are asking themselves, which is the best product that I can buy? And then we can say, hey, listen, fair question, but let's just compare those in these categories, where if you look at them side by side, ours is obviously the best, but it's your decision to make. Now go and buy it. And that decision, right, of basically sending the ad traffic to the pages where they need to be is what lets you profitably reach the huge cold audience, right? That most brands ignore because they don't understand this stuff. They don't understand how to meet people where they are with the ads and the funnel behind it. Now, step number 1 is we want to build a strong preset page, right? So the job of the preset page is to intensify the pain, educate, build trust, and set the frame for the offer. It looks like an editorial, right? It doesn't really look like a sales page. So the reader never feels sold and the offer is never even appearing there. The format we build by default is the listicle, right? The listicle was the main lever for all of the case studies for Ari, Rick, Sebastian, and Jonathan that you've seen above. And it's also the easiest to get right for you because the structure is always the same, right? So you run the same structure and then the copy and the assets obviously change. So this is basically what a preset page looks like if we break it down top to bottom. At the top, you have an announcement bar, right? So this typically has some form of urgency and countdown timer. You then have a headline, something like 5 reasons 50,000 X owners or target audience X now love this product or are going crazy about this product, right? Which should be congruent with the ad. We then have 5 reasons, right? Typically, reason number 1 and 2 lead with the problem, they agitate the problem. Reason number 3 and 4 then educate around why this product is better, how it's going to work. Then reason number 5 is typically some form of social proof, urgency, and guarantee. And then the last section is then the call to action into the sales page, right? So that's basically the style of a preset page that we like to use. So just to give you the example from Ari, this is basically the pre-sale page that we've used for him. Obviously, I've taken out like a lot of copy and images where you could see the brand, but basically this is what the pre-sale page looks like. And then at the bottom, you have the call to action. Now, each reasons follows the same little arc, right? So you basically have a quick headline, as you can see here, right? So we always have an image or a video on the left-hand side. We then have a quick headline and then we have a quick description paragraph, right? So you can see all of that here. The reason that this converts really, really well is that it's an editorial style page, right? It's not a sales page where they directly understand that they're being sold. So for a few brands, sometimes a different style of page works better, right? So like a point of view advertorial or a quiz funnel or VSL funnel or whatever. But obviously in this video, I just want to give you the best performing one and the easiest to execute too. Now, as soon as you've built the listicle, the next step is then to build the sales page, right? So the preset page has done its job and now the sales page has to present the code-friendly offer you built in step 1. So here the main thing you want to do is you want to use urgency and objection handling and then close the sale, right? So most brands, they just have a generic product page, which is not what we like to do. Typically what we like to do is have a really long form page with a lot of different sections, right? So you obviously have the above the fold with 6 to 10 product images. You then have the headline and the end result. You have the code friendly offer and the call to action, right? We then have different sections. So for example, we have a product showcase where we re-explain the mechanism and enrich it with details. We then want to build desire in another product details section. We then have an objection handling and FAQ section. And then we have another social proof and trust section, right? So it's really a long form sales page. And then at the bottom, we have another add to cart section where they can buy the product. So the main thing that you want to do is obviously the copy. Copy is the biggest lever, and this should also be based on the research that you did in step 1. The second one is the product images, right? So most people, they just have product images on like a white background. Typically, we want to have 6 to 10 product images. You should have these 6 minimum, right? So on image number 1, you should obviously show the product or the bundle that they are buying with the main value proposition. On image number 2, you should then break down the product and show like what's inside or the different components and why they have great benefits. In image number 3, that should be a quick how to use it or quick demonstration. Image number 4 should have some form of social proof or testimonials. Image number 5 should have a third-party testimonial like authority or an influencer. And then image number 6 should showcase the transformation, like before and after or the transformation that you're selling. The offer, right, we obviously present with the decoy effect. Just to give the example from Ari here really quickly, as we've talked about earlier, the decoy effect, and this is how you then present the offer on the sales page in the above the fold. From there, as soon as they click on the call to action, they are then being pushed in the cart where we then again have the progress bar, right? So that's basically how the whole funnel works. The last step in the funnel section is then building the upsells, right? So we've now talked about the front end of the funnel of like preset page, sales page, checkout. But then after the checkout, the most interesting stuff happens, right? Because after somebody in the checkout clicks on purchase, we then push them into post-purchase upsell sequence. So there are 3 different kinds of upsells that we typically like to do, which is more of the same, which is a complementary product or is cheaper downsell. right? So here to give you an example from another brand that's crushing, the front end offers like a physical pain relief device for like $180. The first one-time offer is then the same device at $90. The second one-time offer are then pain relief patches for $60. And then the third upsell offer is then a community and course, right? A digital product. Now, we have seen these post-purchase upsell sequences lift the average order value by 20 to 60%, right? So just the post-purchase upsell sequences, 20 to 6%, right? So just imagine how much that's going to do for you. And that extra margin is often what lets you outbid competitors on traffic because you make more from every customer than they do. And the same logic carries into retention, right? So an email sequence and a retargeting offer bring buyers back for the more of the same offer, faster results, or the next problem, right? So even if they don't take the offers here, you can then send them emails to educate them around it. And this is basically where we then bring everything together. So everything from the document, the research, building the offer, the ad creatives, the media buying, the funnel, pre-sale page, sales page, post-purchase offer. And now you probably have the full image of how we then make it a super congruent customer journey end to end. So if we close a look at Ari, right? So this is basically a Shopify graph. I think it's worth going through this in more detail because his brand looked nothing like a brand about to triple, right? So he had a good product. He was in e-commerce for 5 years. But if you look at his Shopify graph, he always had a hard ceiling at 500K per month, right? He then came to us in September and then scaled to 1.28 million in November and 1.36 million in December, right? So crazy growth. The first thing we rebuilt was the offer, right? So we used a quantity tier structure for him, and that single change lifted his average order value from $57 to $65, right? Which is obviously $8 more to acquire new customers, more profitable. Next thing is then we fixed the funnel, right? So instead of sending the call to the product page, we built the listicle page I showed you earlier, and this is basically what the funnel looks like high level. And we then put the code when the offer on the sales page, build a long form sales page, put the upsell in the cart, and that really had a really, really big impact for him to be able to spend so much more money on ads, so much more profitable, right? So this didn't require a new product. This didn't require him to hire new team members. This didn't require him to get a new traffic source, right? Everything we did was just change the ads, build a preset page, optimize the offer, optimize the checkout process, and he could just scale more profitably and quicker. Now, you may ask yourself, hey Carl, okay, this is great, but this is so much to do and execute, right? Like all of this stuff is going to take so much time. And yes, you're right. But on the other hand side, we now have AI, right? So what I want to introduce to you is the execution layer, which is the AI systems and the prompting SOPs. Because everything in the steps and in this protocol that I've just went through, you typically needed a huge team for, right? So the research, the copywriting, the creative volume, building the pages, data analysis, right? Each one of those, you would have a full-time person, and each of these would cost real money. And a founder at your stage usually faces two really bad options. You either hire those specialists and team members, which is slow and expensive, and you have to manage them, or you try to do all of this yourself on top of running the business. And that's really bad, right? And that's where the execution dilemma starts. And AI removes that trade-off, but not in the way that most people think. So what most people do with AI is they just go to ChatGPT and then just put a question in there. Like, hey, what should be the ad concept? Hey, what are the 3 benefits that I should put on my product page for my supplement brand, right? And then they just copy and paste that, and then they wonder why it doesn't work, right? Because AI is only as good as the context you feed it and the prompts you give it so it can generate a good output. And we're going to break that down in a second, right? But with AI, the shift is way bigger than most founders realize, right? A single person with the right AI setup can now do what beforehand needed a team of 10 people, right? And the quality oftentimes is even better because once you have the system, AI is going to do it repeatedly with the same quality. And you don't have a human in the loop who can make a mistake. And that's where the leverage changes, right? So a lot of these brands that you've seen before, they have a team, it's the founder, and then they have 2 to 5 people on their team, right? So super quickly, let me be specific about what really AI systems and prompting SOPs mean, because these words get thrown out around a lot and everybody think they're an AI engineer and whatever, which is not the case. So a prompting SOP just means that you have tested a specific prompting sequence of instructions that reliably turn a specific input you give to the AI into a specific output the same way every single time with a super high quality, which is individual to your business. And an agent is a workflow of several of those steps together, right? So that's the simplest way to picture the difference between asking a question ChatGPT and you get a generic output and a trained agent that can run the whole process end to end, right? So if you just ask ChatGPT, hey, please write me a product description for my supplement, you get this generic AI output. I mean, we've all been there, done that, seen the output. It's really, really bad, right? But if instead you run a sequence where, first of all, you feed the AI with your data points, and then secondly, you have a proven prompting sequence where you give the AI amazing input and an amazing context and prompting sequence, it's going to give a way better output. So it's not necessarily like what's the best AI, because they're all super similar. The advantage is that you need a great setup and then tested sequences and frameworks that make it produce work at a senior level, right? And that's exactly what we're going to hand to you. So you get the same prompting SOPs, frameworks, and agent workflows that we run internally on our client brands, right? So high level, how do you get the best output of AI? There's 3 steps to this, right? So I want you to think about AI like an employee. So number 1 is that for an employee to be able to generate a good high quality output, you need to give him a setup. Right? What is his specific role and what is his specific goal in the company and what are his tasks? So that's number 1, right? I'm going to break that down in a second. Number 2 is the context, meaning you want to give the employee data like, hey, this is my product. Here are some reviews. Here's the best performing creators from the last 30 days. Here's our meeting buying strategies, right? So you want to give him like good data points and good context. And then number 3 is you want to give him really, really good prompts, right? Meaning really detailed briefs of what exactly he has to do. And if you manage all these 3, then that has a super amazing output. Now, step number 1, right? We typically like to use Claude because they can just set it up in the easiest way and gives you the best output generally. So the first thing that you want to do in Claude is you don't want to just go into a chat, right, and just ask questions. The first thing you want to do is you want to set up a project, right? So think of this as one employee. So for example, you have a creative strategist. Then you would set up a project and you can even name it creative strategist, right? So just let's go with this analogy. What you then want to think about with the project is it's like a workspace, and any single time you need like something creative, you go into that specific project, right? So that's a permanent workspace that then really understands what it has to do every single time you then start a new chat within that project. So here, obviously, I have to just black out a lot of the stuff because that's like our internal SOPs. But just as an example, hey, you're an elite A-list direct response copywriter and master copy chief. Your singular goal is to help me engineer high converting $1 million editorials using our proprietary methodology, right? And there's obviously a lot more going into this. But as I said, the number 1 thing is you need to set up the project and you need to give it a specific role and a specific goal and a specific methodology, right? So this is basically the job description, so to speak. The next thing is then the context setup, right? So into that project, you then basically, as you can see here, this is what a project looks like, right? So the project setup from here, we put into the instructions. You can then see all of the different chats here within that project, for example, paid ads. And then in the files, you then want to upload a lot of data around your business. So for example, let's stick with paid ads. You could export all of the last 1 year Facebook campaigns into a CSV, upload it, right? You could export all of the customer reviews, upload it. You can export all of the existing copy that you have on your product pages, upload it, right? So that's basically how we like to set up the project, just so we can give it a lot of contextual data points, right? Which you can see here in the files. And that's super, super, super important, because then number one, Claude knows what to do. Number two, Claude has specific data points about your business. And then number three, we go into the prompting sequences, right? And then basically we just start a new chat within this project where Claude already knows, okay, I'm a paid ads specialist. I have all of the context around the business. Now I can work with that. And then the output is obviously way more individualized to your business. Now, prompting sequences are basically step-by-step prompts that take Claude to a specific workflow, right? So here you can see, for example, we have 5 prompts to generate copy, right? And then you would just copy and paste this first prompt into Claude, right? Wait for the output. And then you paste prompt number 2, put it in, wait for the output. Prompt number 3, right? So as you can see, this is really like a longer form workflow of how you go into a sparring with Claude. So for example, in terms of the step-by-step process, a single workflow, right? Number 1 prompt is, hey, Claude, please check the project files. I gave you the raw reviews. I gave you my customer avatar. I gave you my Facebook data. Analyze that, right? Number 2, okay, perfect. Based on that analysis, let's write some ad copy. Okay, perfect. Now the next step, let's translate that into ads, whatever, right? So as you can imagine, the whole output completely shifts to day to night difference to you go into ChatGPT, it has 0 context or data around your business, and you just ask, how should I sell my supplements? Or you do this whole custom setup with an AI. You feed the AI the exact role it's going to use, the exact data points it's going to use, and then the exact prompting sequences that are better tested, right? So this changes everything. And then any single time you need like paid ads, you just copy and paste the prompts, start a new chat, and it's going to give you an amazing output, right? And then it's not starting from scratch every single time. It has all of the context from everything you've done before. And this is also what lets Sebastian push new pages, offers, creative ideas into our Slack channel almost every single day with a tiny team, right? So this is Sebastian's team. He himself is the founder. He has 2 creative strategists with 1 editor and 1 VA underneath. And that's how he's right now doing $1 million per month profitably with 6 people in his team, with 2 people being VAs. And most founders assume $1 million a month brand needs 50 or 100 people, but it does not anymore, because this AI stuff, right? These AI agents that we just talked about, they give you 100x leverage. So even with a 6 people team, you can get the work done that needed like 20, 30, 50 people before. And that's the power of AI. Right? So that's also why we like to just come into your business for a 90-day period and install all of this into your business, right? So that's why we like to do this in a done with you model. It doesn't make sense that we do it for you, like we have the AI on our end and we just give you the outputs. We want to teach you how to do all of this yourself, right? Because then at the end of the work and the partnership that you and I have is you then have all of these AI agents, all of these workflows inside of your business, and you understand how to operate them. And that's basically how we like to use AI, right? So here I just have some more examples of the main difference, but I think, yeah, we already drove the point home in terms of why you need to have the exact prompting systems and prompting sequences, project setups, and all of that stuff to get reliable, high quality output. And this is also the answer to, hey, Carl, do I need a huge team? Do I need a lot of time? Do I need whatever, like 20 hours per week and like 20 people? No, you don't. You need 1 to 2 hours a day. You need to have a team that's strong. And then you only need all of these AI workflows to get all of the stuff done, right? So just to give you some different areas of where the AI has the highest leverage, it's research and data analysis, it's copywriting, and then building ads and pages, right? For research and data analysis, this is where AI changes the game the most because it's the most time consuming, right? So Jonathan, for example, said that the customer research alone felt like it took 3 days, right? And then this workflow, it can just get that down to 30 minutes. So for example, you feed in your reviews, post-purchase surveys, support tickets, relevant forum threads, and then the workflow translates that into pain, desires, objections, beliefs, right? So for example, this workflow that I explained earlier with going into Reddit, right, reading through that and doing all of this stuff, AI will just do all of that for you. You don't even have to do it manually anymore. So research and data analysis is obviously a huge one. The next step is then you can obviously run it through certain frameworks that we are going to give you, like the Motive Compass, which then translates all of the data analysis into a super specific custom avatar, and then how to, in the next step, write copy for that specific custom avatar. So that takes me to the next step, right? Once you've done the research, once you've went through the custom avatar analysis, the copy almost writes itself, right? Because the hard part for AI is not the writing. The hard part for the AI is to know exactly who is the customer avatar and what do we have to say to them, right? So yeah, then you basically feed the avatar and all of that into the AI, and then the AI can super easily draft the hook, draft the copy, create a preset page, create the sales page sections, everything, and it works amazingly well, right? In one case with a recent brand, we lifted the product page conversion rate from 1.4% to over 4%, right? Just through doing this whole workflow with AI. And then number 3 is raw production, right? So getting AI images, getting AI videos, getting these pages built, the preset pages, the sales pages, right? We have AI workflows to get all of this done. So you don't even need a developer anymore to do this, or designer or whatever, right? So that's the power of AI. Now, why is now the perfect time to go all in on e-commerce and make a lot of money? Well, 25 years ago, the internet changed everything, right? Most people called it a bubble that would crash. But the people like Jeff Bezos here in his garage in 1999, they went all in, and now they have one of the biggest companies worldwide, right? And AI is doing the exact same thing to e-commerce right now. Then costs are collapsing, speed is exploding, and AI agents are doing the work that used to take teams of 10, 20, 30, 50 people, right? So just last week, my own COO told me that he just replaced another developer with an AI agent that he built himself, right? And that window, it's wide open today, but it's not going to stay open forever. You probably have another 12 to maybe 18 months, right? After that, you're either on the winning side and you have an 8-figure brand that's making a lot of money, or you're watching from the sidelines, right? And the brands who are already at 8 or 9 figures, they are not waiting. They're going all in right now, right? And that is exactly why the brands that stay aggressive right now see the triple growth and up to 9 times the profitability, as McKinsey studied, right? So everything that you've seen in this document is super recent. It's either from the last quarter or from the quarter before that. So this system is working right now as we speak. I cannot promise that it's going to work in 2, 3, or 5 years from now, but right now it's working. So here's how we're going to help you execute all of this, right? We basically came up with a program which is a 90-day sprint, and we like to call it the accelerated done with you program. So when I looked at the market, all of the usual options were bad. On the one hand side, you have Miami gurus that are doing courses with group calls, and on the other side, you have cheap agencies with junior team members that are just learning on your money and your ad spend, right? So I wanted to build something new that sits at the intersection of this and has the best of everything, right? So we build a done with you program where we come into your business for a 90-day sprint, and we help you install all of these systems into your business, and then we help you with our guidance to do this. And we basically just own the strategy for you. We come up with the 90-day roadmap, and then you can basically install all of this and execute all of this yourself. And after the 90-day sprint, the best thing is that you don't even need us anymore, because in the 90-day sprint, we already installed everything into your business and taught you how to do all of this yourself, right? So here's exactly what that looks like. Number 1 is the onboarding, right? So in the beginning, we need access to your tech stack, meaning your Shopify and your Facebook Ads Manager. And then on day 1, we start doing the audit. So basically, we do an audit of your complete business, right? All of your KPIs, the ads you're running, the funnel, the products, and your niche, right? And what we do with that is we then build a roadmap which is tailored to your specific business that shows you exactly what to do over the 90-day sprint that we have together with weekly action items. After we do that, we then move into the execution, right? So you execute everything yourself with our guidance, right? We have a selection where you can ask questions 24/7. We have one-on-one weekly calls with your customer success manager, and you get full access to our internal library of all of the SOPs, all of the AI agents that are mentioned in this video, right? This program is only for you if you're currently doing 50 to 500,000 per month, and you're ready to implement a real system and you're willing to work and execute alongside us, right? This is not for you if you're not in e-commerce, if you're not doing at least 50,000 per month, or if you just want somebody to get this done for you, right? This is a down with you program specifically for e-commerce brands, specifically at 50 to 500K per month, because that's where we see the best results. So here's exactly what you get once you work together. As I said in the beginning, we do a custom audit and a step-by-step roadmap where you know exactly what to execute every single day over the 90-day sprint that we have together. You then have a one-on-one roadmap call with your customer success manager, right? So in that roadmap call, we go through the whole roadmap together, and afterwards you can go into execution, right? You then have the direct access to the experts behind the biggest brands, right? So everything we teach you and everything we strategize together, we are doing in our day-to-day work on the agency side. You have access to our internal training platform, right? So this is the same one we use to onboard new team members. It has over 60 hours of videos, and it has over 100 templates and SOPs, and we update this every single month with new case studies. You then have a Slack channel with the whole team where you can ask anything, you can send in everything for a review, and you get an answer within 24 hours. On top of that, we have weekly one-on-one feedback calls with your customer success manager to make sure that you're on track and that you're moving through it. Again, you have the step-by-step guidelines for everything, and we have a private community for brand owners at your level. The realistic time commitment is around 1 to 2 hours per day, right? Spread across you and your existing team and the AI agents, right? So these AI agents are going to help you do a lot of this work. We qualify super hard, and we only take on a limited number of brands at a time, right? So we only want to work with brands where we are confident that we can help them double their revenue in a 90-day period. Now, we do have some FAQs that we typically get, right? So people ask us, what exactly do they get? It's a 90-day sprint where we, together with you, help you build your offer, ads, funnel together, right? So we give you all of our guidance, our SOPs, AI agents, and then you can execute everything yourself, and then you can give that back to us, and we're going to review it and feedback it together. And the main idea of that is that you do all of the work yourself so you can learn it, and then we constantly teach you and iterate together with you, right? We will own the strategy. We will come up with the strategy ourselves, so you don't have to worry about that. You just have to execute everything yourself with our SOPs, our templates, and our AI agents so that you can learn everything yourself, and that after 90 days you are basically independent from us. How is this different from an agency? An agency does the work for you and keeps you dependent on them, right? So that's not what we want to do. We want to come into your business in a 90-day sprint, and that after the 90-day period, our goal is that you then own all of the skills, all of the AP and AI agents inside of your business, and we can get out again after 90 days. A lot of people say, hey, they've been burned before. How do I know that you will actually deliver, right? And that's a really good question. A lot of the people that talk to us have been burned by another agency before. And the honest answer to that is that we qualify super, super hard, and we only take on brands where we are confident that we can actually help them double their business revenue, right? And again, with all of this, the main idea is that we can come in for a 90-day sprint, and then afterwards you don't even need us anymore. People say, hey, I need to run this by my partner or team first, right? That's completely normal. Just feel free to send them this document, and especially this part to read with your partner, just to really go through everything. I've bought courses before, and most of them were useless. Why is this different? That is almost word for word what Sebastian told us, right? This case study from earlier in the document, who we had scaled from 10K per day to now consistent 30, 40K per days. And he also said that the difference is it's super tactical, and we actually help you step by step with real feedback loops. So you're not by yourself. You have a one-on-one customer success manager with weekly one-on-one calls, right? A lot of people say, hey, this sounds like a lot of work, right? How much time does it take? Typically around 1 to 2 hours per day, because as I said, you have all of the SOPs from our end, you have all of the templates and the AI agents to help you do this. I'm already running ads, I already have a team, why do I need you? Well, this is the exact situation most of our clients are in, right? Obviously, because otherwise you wouldn't be doing 50 to 500,000 per month. The main reason why most brands plateau is that they don't have the systems, and every single time they try to spend more money, their ROAS goes down, right? So they may have some good creatives, but they don't have a good offer, they don't have a good funnel, they don't have a good system to implement all of this and make everything better. And that's the main reason why people are coming to us. A lot of people are just asking, hey, can I just do this myself with the content that's online and AI tools? Yes, feel free to try. But then you're going to see that after a year or two, you're just not executing in the right order. You're following shiny objects and all of that stuff. right? So especially with AI, AI is only really great if you have the right project setup, the right context, and the right prompting sequences, because otherwise it's just going to give you the generic output, right? Some people think their brand might be too small. For us, if you're doing at least 50,000 per month with a real growth curve, you qualify. Does this work for my niche? The best cases is anything health, wellness, beauty, skincare, fashion, accessories, pain relief products, problem-solving products, right? We don't really work with anything SaaS, B2B, or whatever. A lot of people are asking, should they wait until the next quarter, until Q4, whatever? We always like to say, hey, either way, it's just a 90-day sprint. The 90-day sprint is always going to be the same. So the faster you get on board and the faster you get the 90-day sprint done, the better, because the faster you can scale and the faster you have the system, right? So for us, the 90-day days always look the same. It's just a matter of when do you want to get started and when do you want to have the whole sprint done. What results should I expect and how fast, right? Our 90-day target is to help you double the revenue, right? Most of our clients see the first improvement within the first 30 days of onboarding, right? So our average client already increases their revenue in the first 30 days by 10 to 30%. How long do clients usually stay? So again, with most of them, we just do a 90-day sprint and then define the next milestones together. Most of them have everything they need within the 90 days. Some of them want to do another 90 days, right, to then solve more problems or for us help them with more stuff, right? But typically 90-day is sufficient. Do you run my ads? Do you build my pages? Whatever? No, we don't build anything for you. We don't execute anything for you. We own the strategy, right? So we come up with the strategy and then you own the execution, which means done with you, and which is why we're sitting in the same boat together. And then some people ask, hey, why do you explain all of this? Why do you give all of these processes away for free? Why should I work for you, right? And obviously this is like a good high-level rundown of how everything works, but then in the day-to-day business, obviously, it's at a way more nitty-gritty detail grade of what we give you in terms of the SOPs, in terms of the templates. And then also, you mostly pay for our experience, right? So we've worked with over 254 brands, some of the biggest and fastest growing direct-to-consumer brands worldwide. And that's something that you cannot get for free. That's something that you cannot even get anywhere from anybody on the market, right? So if all of this is interesting to you and you just want to understand how we can work together or how we can install this into your business, then just book a free growth audit. So just click on this link, fill out the form on the page. You can get a free growth audit, right? No strings attached. On this call, we're going to look at your store, your ads, your KPIs, and everything together. And then we will exactly show you what a partnership would look like, right? There's no commitment and no pitch if we are not a good fit, right? So either way, you're going to walk away with a clear implementation guide and with a clear roadmap of how to do this, right? If we have an amazing fit, if we see a lot of potential in your business, then we're obviously going to make you an offer, right? But then again, we're qualifying super hard and we're only making offers to people where we're genuinely interested in working together with and where we genuinely see that we have potential to really help them scale hard. So thank you so much for watching. I will link this document in the comment section down below and then see you on a call soon.